Hey guys, welcome back to Building the Addition. So I seem to have gotten a bunch done today, but again, it's been raining and everything else. So let's see what we've gotten done today so far, in between the rain showers and everything else. Right off the bat, sorry about the breeze, but it's well needed around here. Help dry things up. But it's nice today. So I've got table saw going. As you can see, I've been cutting a bunch of stuff already. Got a bunch of wood here, ready to be cut up for studs. And of course, all the wood that come from the shed that we tore down. You can see that we got the floor finished. Had to cut those branches down, like I said before. Cut them off from up there because they were above the floor. And of course, a bunch off of that tree. Still got a couple more I got to cut down, but we'll get to it. Bunch of scrap here. Some still good, just haven't gone through it yet. So yeah, as you can see, we've got the rest of the floor done. This is pretty much all the wood from the shed. Got some extra sheeting. Some of it's not the best, but hey, it'll do. You can use it for something. So there's some of the studs I've cut already, and there's some more way back there that I've cut. So I got a bunch of those boards to cut and still some more to carry over. Nice thing is, taking down that shed, we got a whole bunch of these hangers and stuff, which would have been nice to have in the first place, then I wouldn't have had to buy any. But hey, what can I say? So a bunch more screws here to sort through. I've already sorted those. One of the tree branches knocked this one over, so not a big deal. But it's coming along good. Once I've got that stuff all cut up, then I'm going to tackle taking this siding off all the way up and across. Get that done. And yes, we are blocking in that window. We're going to make a pass-through window there because that's where the kitchen sink is. And what the hell, it's easy to reach the sink when we don't have to go all the way around to get water. So I'm going to get back to cutting some more wood here after I finish carrying over the rest of it. When I've got it all cut, I'll come back and show you. Well, I'm not sure if I showed you guys last time, but I already picked up this window for free. It slides sideways, which is fine because I'm going to use that for my paint booth window. I'll build a box around it on the outside so I can put a filter in. Otherwise, the inside I'll have a shelf and frame it in so I can have like a paint booth and a fan and everything, and I can close it for the winter to keep the cold out. Now here we got a couple of sheets. Some of those sheets from the shed were a little wet, so I've been leaving them out in the sun to dry. There's some more there. Now also, I picked up 4 more windows for free. These ones, they crank at the bottom and the bottom swing outwards. So those are real nice. You can have them open when it's raining. Not a big deal. That one there is just for the paint booth, so it won't matter. Added some posts along the wall here underneath. I've also added hangers all the way along. Added a couple more over here. Sorry about the sun. I gotta fix up this board here, but I gotta trim it back. Okay, so I haven't gotten to the siding yet. It's not my biggest concern yet, but I have cut a whole stack of lumber. So I'm pretty much ready to start my walls. I brought the chop saw out, sitting over there, ready to go. I'm done with the table saw for now. I'm going to measure up my studs and square up both ends so that they're the exact length that I need. I also have to move probably this bunch and the wood that's sitting at the other end so that I can start laying out my wall. I've also went along and put a chalk line down 4 inches in so that when my wall sits, my sheeting can go right past. I marked out the outside walls. I still got to mark the middle wall and the hallway wall. I got a bunch of wood over there that I've got to cut up. Those will be like window sills and stuff like that. I've cleaned up my huge pile of sawdust. So I'm going to finish setting up the saw so I can trim up my ends and measure up my 2x4s. When I've got that done, I will show you how I've got it set up and what I'm doing. Okay, so what I've done is I slid the extensions out. I probably don't need that side, but I put this one out. Then I measured my height and I set up a stack of blocks. That helps support everything, keeps it all nice and level and flat. Made sure that while it was unplugged, I put a square against here, brought the blade down, made sure that everything was 90 degrees here, right? Tested it, made sure, put a square on here on this edge as well to make sure that I am getting a 90-degree cut. So all I'm doing is taking off maybe a quarter or so. I'm taking off the bad end, and then I will be measuring out 8 foot. Now, that's not your typical length for a stud. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dad, but I do believe a typical framing stud is 91.5 inches. Don't quote me on that. So I'm going 8 foot to give me the extra. Plus I'm going to have a bottom plate on the floor. And of course, up top, I'm going to have a double top plate. Your first top plate is for making the wall. The second top plate is tying the corners of your wall or any type of joint, meaning any wall that butts into one wall or a corner. The wall that butts in, the second top plate will go on top of the first top plate of the crossing wall, so that it ties that wall into that wall and makes it that much stronger. So I'm going to start cutting up a bunch here. Sorry about that, stupid horsefly. So I'm going to start cutting up all my studs and measuring them out, and restacking them again. That shouldn't take me too long, even though there's 72 studs that I got to cut just for my 3 walls. Now for this wall, they are going to be shorter because I have to frame underneath the eave. But for now, I'm going to do that wall. I'm going to frame in a door. Then I've got one window roughly about there. I've got one window roughly about there. There's going to be a wall running this way, leaving roughly 4 feet for a hallway for the doorway, and a wall that's going to go that way. There'll be a door there going into my cave. There'll be a window pretty much in the corner, which is going to end up partly my spray booth and ventilation for my laser engraver. Now for the bedroom area, there's going to be a window here. And there's going to be a window right about here somewhere. And eventually there'll be a door cut in right there, which will lead into the living room of the main house. So I'm going to get to cutting up these boards. I'll see you in a bit. Hey guys. Okay, so I've got everything all cut up here. Nicely stacked. Those are all my studs. I may have to cut a few more, but that's okay. So I started framing. So I've got a 24-foot long wall here. And those spots that you see with no studs, there's one there and one here. Those are 2 windows. This one is an upright. That one is a side to side. That one's going to end up where my fume hood and stuff like that for my laser cutter and my paint booth is going to be. Now I've got one sheet on already. Now I've gone ahead and I've squared the corners, or squared the wall, sorry. So I've squared the wall, running a tape measure from that corner to that corner, and then from that corner to this corner, making sure that both measurements are exactly the same. That makes the wall square. Now I've also run a chalk line on the floor to where my wall is going to be, and I've straighten my wall according to that chalk line. So I know that my wall is straight. I know that it is square. So I've got one sheet on already. And I've brought extra sheets up, so I've got to set them in place, nail them all down. I'll cut out my windows later. Now, because this is a gable end wall, I don't need headers in this wall because it is not a load-bearing wall. But it will be getting framed in at a later date when I know exactly where I want my windows. So I'm going to continue laying sheets. When I've got the sheets down, I will show you, and then we'll figure out how to lift this heavy bastard, because it's pretty much just me. So that's where I'm at, and I'll show you some more here in a little bit. Now today is freaking hot, and the last few days it's been anywhere from 33 to 38 degrees. Today happens to be about 32, but it is still very humid and hot, and of course you can see that I'm in the sun. So I haven't been working as fast as I'd like to be, but I'm getting it done. So I'll be back in a little bit. Hey guys, got it framed, got it sheeted, got it stood, temporarily braced up. Had to take a bit of a break. It was getting way too hot out here in the sun. But now that the shade's starting to come back, sun's going down a little bit, I got this thing stood up. Now I'm going to frame in these windows, because this one here is going to be a bedroom window, and I have to figure out where exactly the height of it I want. I'm going to be building a custom log bed frame. So once I figure that out, which I'll probably be doing here fairly soon, so that I can frame up for the window, I'll frame that in, finish cutting that out. And this one here is going to be in the new cave. So I got to figure out how high I want my counter so that I can adjust the height of the window to mate up with the paint booth and laser engraver. Obviously that 2x6 there, that's going to be the center wall that comes all the way out. I got to do up my top plate up there. I put two pieces on the joints, and I've staggered my joints. There's one there, and then the bottom plate is right underneath the 2x6, and that's it. Makes the wall a little stronger that way. Now I was saying, when this wall gets built, or the other side, the top plate will go right over top of that one and tie the two corners together. And the same thing will happen on that end. Now, as you can see, I still got some tree branches to cut. That one's going to be in the way, and that one's going to be in the way, a few of those, and of course this one. So that one's got to come down too. But we'll get to that, no worries. So, since the sun's going down, supper's being made, I'm going to continue this tomorrow. So, until tomorrow, well, today is tomorrow. So, last night, after it cooled off, I set up one of my halogen lights, because it was starting to get dark out, and I got all the siding down, and noticed that whoever did this before went right over top of the tin. I'm going to leave that there. All I got to do is cut a hole in one spot right there so that I can have a door. I've started the plates on the bottom. Now that was after an eventful morning when the stepson went to leave in the vehicle, and a wire dropped down underneath, got wrapped around the drive shaft and yanked it completely out, which obviously shut down the vehicle because that wire harness was part of the fuel pump and his wheel speed sensors for the ABS and traction control. So I spent most of the day fixing that. And when that was done, I had to run into town, get a couple parts for something else. And then I came back, I started these bottom plates, which I'm going to have to stick frame some of this because the trailer isn't as level as the addition I'm doing. So the studs on this end are going to be a little shorter than the studs that are on that end. Not a big deal. They're only about an inch off. Then I took a bunch of the fascia off. As you can see over there, it's white. So I took the fascia off. I got to put a piece back up there. It fell down. Not a big deal. That'll all get addressed when the walls are all done and I can start patching up the siding again. But all of that is down. So then I can nail a top plate to that. and then I can stick frame in between. So that's what I'll be doing next. But I think I'm going to end the video here for this, and I'll see you in the next video. So make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell icon so you can get notified for the next video that I put out. Until then, later.